Welcome back to another edition of What Are We Thinking on a very cold February day. It is in the single digits. Last night got down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. That is this number in Celsius. And it's been like this for a couple of weeks. We've had it really cold over the last couple of weeks, and something that we really weren't experiencing at all earlier this winter. January was very mild, December was very mild, and then we hit February. We thought we were on the upswing, and it turns out we weren't. We've got another week or so of this cold, although it's gradually getting warmer, and we think by one more week from now, we might actually get above freezing. And we've just had a lot of snow, too.
Yeah,
it's snowed
we probably have a foot and a half of snow just sitting. Because it's been so cold and none of it melts. Usually when it snows in Chicago, at least a few days later, some of it starts to melt away, but it's just been piling up.
Yeah, it's there's a lot out there.
He's been shoveling a lot.
Oh my gosh. And I've been going nuts with the snow melt too. I'm trying to just, so that when it does snow, I don't have to immediately get out there and shovel again.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about what are the things that we do when it gets this cold.
Yeah, we've told you about how we heat the boat and wrap it to keep it warmer and things like that. But when we get to these extreme temperatures, there are a few more things that we do to just keep us a little bit more cozy. One thing that's important is we want to make sure that our water lines aren't freezing up. Just like in a house, you probably hear those warnings of bitter cold and make sure you turn your taps on a trickle. Well, we can't do that because we would run out of water if we kept our taps on a trickle here. So we just want to make sure that the lines don't freeze up. A lot of the lines do run through the engine room, so we have a heater down there and that keeps it warm enough there. But then other parts of the lines are running just right against the hull of the boat and might be kind of behind cabinets and things. So we've found that when we open the cabinet doors underneath each of the sinks in the heads and in the galley, that really helps warm it up. And then also we make sure that we close all the drains in the sink. If you put your hand over the drain, you can feel just cold air gushing in. So we make sure that when we're not using the sink, we stop them down, and that helps quite a bit.
Yeah, and because it's so cold, it's a little more difficult for us to get water. So we've gone into paper plate and solo cup mode too. Yeah. We hate to do that because we don't like to waste that kind of thing, but we just can't wash dishes.
Yeah, years ago,
like we normally can.
It was maybe even our first winter, and it was super cold, and we weren't sure how much water we would go through, and we ended up with a pile of dishes sitting in our kitchen for a couple weeks because we just couldn't wash them. It's more important to us to keep ourselves clean.
Yeah.
So we've gone into extreme water conservation mode, and hopefully this next weekend we'll get above freezing and we won't have to worry about that so much, and we can go back to real plates.
Yes. Another thing is we have talked about the heaters before and how we heat the boat, but now we're actually turning the heaters up a little bit. So I know how much, with the way that I've run the cords and everything, I know what heaters can be on high, what heaters need to stay on low, that kind of thing. So we do have a few heaters that are now on high. And so far everything is good. I'm always watching to make sure that the cords aren't getting warm or anything like that, and make sure that everything is in good shape. And we have another heater as well. Tell them about that one.
Oh, Mr. Buddy?
Yes, Mr. Buddy.
So if you aren't familiar, Mr. Buddy's a propane heater. We are using it on the back deck, the enclosed back deck, which might sound a little odd. But we figured that just heating up that area, being above our bedroom and then just outside of our door, if we keep the temperature there warmer, it'll just help radiate into here as well. So we've only been using it on extreme cold nights because it does run through propane pretty quickly. So that's just a temporary thing, and it definitely seems to be helping. What were you saying the temperature was yesterday when you turned it on?
Yeah, I mean, when I turned it on yesterday, the sun had gone away. It was like 46 degrees back there in the back deck, and it raised it up to like 53, 55, something like that. So you know, 7 to 10 degrees difference on the back deck makes a big difference in here too.
Yeah.
And we've even just hung out there on days where it hasn't been that cold. We've used that to just hang out on the back deck. It's nice to have a little extra space that, you know, the way that we normally would use it in the summertime.
Right, right. And then another cool thing that we've had for many years now is an alcohol burning little tabletop fireplace. When we first got it, people thought we were nuts running that inside because we're so sealed up in here. They thought that we were going to deplete too much oxygen and it was going to be hazardous. But so far, it's been fabulous. I mean, we've been monitoring that, but it runs with pure alcohol. So it's a clean burning little stove, and it puts out, it says at peak, it puts out 8,000 BTU. It definitely raises the temperature quite a bit. So, you know, I feel like I've seen it raise the temperature about 4 or 5 degrees at peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's nice ambiance too. It's a little fire for us. And with that too, we also will just burn candles. It's a pretty simple thing, and it does actually help with the temperature and more nice, cozy ambiance for us.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we've talked about our general heating, all of that. So these are just sort of the added steps that we take to make sure that we are not too bitter cold in here. You know, a lot of people ask us if we're okay, if we're surviving the cold. And honestly, this year, I think even with this bitter cold, we've done really, really well this year. And, you know, thinking back to our old house, it would get down to, you know, 60, 63 at night there. You know,
that's about what we're at here. Yeah. So
yeah, and at night, you know, we're in flannel sheets and a down comforter, and it's nice and cozy in the bed. So
yeah. And I mean, right now it's not a bright sunny day, but there is some sun hitting. As you can see, the windows are nice and bright. It's 75 degrees in here.
Yeah.
So it's nice and comfortable, although my feet are still cold.
Yeah.
But whatever.
We need radiant flooring.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Our floors are still a little cold, but well, thank you guys very much for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. We're always checking and try to answer as well as we can. So thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.